Welcome to Freeform Radio on the Freeform Network. You can follow us on Facebook at Freeform Network. We're on Twitter under FFR Podcast. Remember, hit us up and send questions, suggestions, and any females Noel's looking for some action, send them to ffnquestions@gmail.com. Again, it's Freeform Radio, guys. I am one of your three hosts. My name is Andy, and then I got Noel.
What's going on, everybody?
And I got Danny on one of my sides here.
Yes, sir. Back in here.
So we're backing at them. You know, we had a hectic week, and Danny's very eager to tell us what he did on a special occasion, and he went to a special place. Danny, tell us where you went and you saw some authentic food, I believe.
Heck yeah, man. It was my first time going to Benihana's. I'm not sure if you guys have ever gone there.
No, I've heard of it. It sounds familiar, but never gone there.
Yes, I've been there to many authentic Benihanas.
Yeah, what do they call that? The hibachi.
Hibachis.
The hibachis, where they grill in front of you. I had never done it before or experienced Benihana's or anything like that, any kind of hibachi. So Alana had gotten a gift card, I believe, from her, my mother-in-law a while back, but we just never had a chance to use it. And then Junior's a really picky eater, so it was kind of one of those things where we got to do it just us, because Junior will probably not eat anything there. He doesn't like rice. He doesn't like fish, shrimps, steaks, chicken. He doesn't really eat none of that. If they had pizza and fries, then maybe he'd be down, but they don't serve that.
You don't like steak or even chicken?
No, like chicken nuggets, yeah.
Yes.
But like if you give him a drumstick or like breaded breast chicken breast,
tenders,
he won't eat. Yeah, he won't eat any of that.
Man.
Yeah, it's really weird, but he's gotten better. I mean, when he first started, all he ate was goldfish crackers, and he's expanded his palate a little bit. But yeah, so it was just me and Alana. We actually went for our anniversary. It was our 12th year anniversary. We've been married for 12 years.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it was a week or so ago, but we couldn't find the babysitter was the first part of the story. So we had to plan it out, and I asked for a Friday off of work so that we can go on a Friday and use our public schooling as our babysitter for Junior. So while Junior was at school, me and Alana snuck out of work and went to Benihana's and a movie.
Damn. So you went to Benihana's for like early dinner then?
Yeah, Benihana's opens at 11ish, I think it was. So we're like, we got to do something before that. So we found there was a movie at Marcus Theater, like a Halloween themed movie. So we went to go check that out, and then afterwards we went to Benihana's. So we were starving because all we ate was breakfast. We stopped by what do they call that? Not Panda, not Starbucks. What's the other big one? Panera.
Panera Bread.
I thought you were talking about a coffee place.
Yeah. We went to Panera because actually Panera was the first date that we went solo together. I took her to a Panera and we ate lunch there. So I took her there for breakfast. We ate breakfast, and man, I'm not a connoisseur of Panera or Starbucks or that kind of shit. To me, I just go. I don't really drink coffee, but when I drink tea, I just go to Dunkin' Donuts or I get it at my crib or at work, and it's really nothing special about it. But man, them places get packed, man. We went for the breakfast hours, and man, it was just rocking. You just saw people in and out, people sitting, eating. I mean, we dined in and we sat down and we just ate. But man, it was really rocking. I was just like, shit, man, I didn't realize how many people come to these places. And a lot of people doing like business. They were like on laptops and reading books and shit. I was just like, I've never been exposed to that, so I found it really weird.
Hold on, man. You jumped way ahead here, man. I have a question.
Uh-huh.
All years I known you and Alana have been together. You said one of the first places you took her was to a Panera?
Yeah, well, actually, our first date was a double date. It was with Saul and one of his girlfriends, and we went to the movies. And then afterwards, we went to eat. But after that, the first time that we went out on our own, where I, met up with her like a few days after that double date, and I told her, hey, I really dig you, you like my style, let's do this. So I took her to Panera for lunch.
You're like, yo, girl, Panera's, me and you again.
It was something like that. But yeah, man, I was spitting that hot fire. And we went to Panera's, man. That I figured, that's what hippie, yuppies go do. And, Alana was, kind of, she was kind of like modernized. And, I was used to just going ghetto, let's go to steak and egg or kind of shit.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me fancy it up and we'll go to Panera's.
Yeah, that's why I remember you telling me, like, maybe I don't remember, but yeah, I know you guys went on the movies or something, but I don't know, the meetup place was at Panera's.
Yeah, that was the first solo. After I called her after the first double date, and I was like, yeah, I'll come pick you up. She was getting out of work, so we went to go have some lunch at Panera. So for this Friday that I had off of work and Alana took off of work, I'm like, let's go back to the spot where it first started, the first date. So we went to Panera for breakfast, and it was good, man. I don't like I said, I usually don't eat at places like that. So I had like this over easy egg with bread, and it was like a bacon or some other shit. And man, it was really, really good, man. And then I had an iced tea, and man, it hit the spot. I was really satisfied. It was a little on the expensive side, but to be expected for a place like that, Panera.
Well, you didn't even try the coffee, man. So how do you know how yeah, it could get more expensive, man. But try some of them exotic coffees they got.
I bet an iced tea was $3, so I imagine how much a coffee was.
But is it better than McDonald's?
Yeah, their iced tea there, man, it was great. They have like these, like the fountain things, like when you go to like a Mexican restaurant where they got the bubbling air pushing it around and kind of like swishing the liquid, kind of like that, like one of those horchata machines where it's just constantly like mixing it around so you see it like pouring over on the fountain and the inside of itself. So they have like 5 of those banks with like different flavors. I started with Benihana, so now we're talking about Panera, but man, their iced tea was awesome, man. I was just like, $3 seems like a lot, but maybe on a special occasion, it's the kind of thing you want to splurge on, and the iced tea was good for sure.
All right, man. Yeah, I'm shocked. I didn't know that. That's why I'm like, I had to go back, because other years I known you guys, I don't recall you ever telling me that, so I'm kind of shocked.
Yeah, no, it was just something that we did. We just hung out for a minute, and then after that, it became more like night dates or whatever, where you go out to eat or the movies or go to the zoo or some shit like that. But this is the first time that it was just me and her by ourselves, and so we went there. So yeah, we hit up the movie thing after that, and after the movie let out, went to Benihana's. Like I said, it was the first time I've ever been there, so I didn't really know what to expect, but it was pretty good, man. It was a pretty good experience. I imagine it's kind of like where the knights fight and you eat like chicken like off your hands. They don't even give you a plate. What's that spot?
Oh, like medieval times.
Medieval times. I figured it's kind of like that, where it's like you go once a year and you really gone like, all right, I experienced it, I don't really need to go again kind of thing. So that's the way I felt about Benihana's. It was expensive to me for what you got, for some shrimps and steak, and it's more like the experience. You're paying for that experience, that kind of like personal one-on-one where the chef is kind of cooking in front of you, kind of having a little banter with the group that's over there, because it's like a group setting for you people that have never eaten that kind of food. You're sitting on this like half table where they got this long grill skillet on one end, and he's cooking, and so he's cooking directly in front of you your meal, and it was cool. It was a real cool experience. The food was delicious. It was very good quality. You could taste it. It was like really fresh. I had like this fried rice with chicken was part of my one of my dishes that I was getting.
Wait, hold on, man. That fried rice extra. You know that, right?
Yeah, we picked the 6-course meal, which came with like a fried rice, an appetizer, shrimp, steak, ice cream at the end, and a few other things. So it was like the whole nines that we got. So, I've had fried rice before, and I've had some pretty decent spots. I usually order from New Star. It's over here on Harlem and North Avenue. And man, their Chinese food is good. But man, this Benihana's fried rice, it just tasted great flavor.
There you go.
And I really dug it a lot. So, as the pieces started coming along, the shrimps, the this, the that, man, everything just kept, it was just really, really good. Like I mentioned, it was a little pricey for me at the very end, for what it was, Chinese food, kind of lightish, with a little flair.
Danny, the correct word is Japanese, sir. Japanese.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It is Japanese.
But we love all our Asian fans out there.
Oh no, yeah, don't get me wrong, man. I love Chinese food. I would eat New Star more, but my wife doesn't. She likes Chinese food, but she doesn't like it as much as I do. Otherwise, man, I'd be ordering it once a week. But it was cool, man. It was really good. I really dug it, and it was a cool experience. But like I mentioned, it's the kind of thing where maybe you do once or twice in your lifetime, and for me, that's more than enough. I don't really need to do it again.
So you were not gonna take your lovely wife back to Benihana's?
I mean, if she really wanted to go, I would go. But for me, I had the experience. I know how it was, and that satisfied my curiosity as to something different.
Did you not like
been to that kind of food eating?
The theatrics of the chef doing his thing and making the bad jokes and doing the choo-choo train and the heart and all that?
Right. For what it is, it was cool. And I'd probably do it again. Like if somebody hadn't experienced it and we went on a double date with, one of my brothers or something else, like a good friend, they wanted to go try it, they've never had it, then I'd probably consider going again. But as far as just me and Alana, I done it. I was happy, but it's not the kind of thing that, on a random Saturday night, like let's go to Benihana's and go and eat kind of thing. Or at least that's a little above my pay grade. I don't like going and spending a lot on food like that.
So if you want a better price like Japanese food, when I used to work for this Japanese company, we'd obviously eat a lot of Japanese food because it was around. And there was these two spots that I'd recommend. If you're in Elk Grove Village, there's a place called Tensuke, which is more like a convenience store that sells also hot foods and has like a little restaurant in the back. Or if you want something like full-fledged, they have it's like a bigger store. It's called Mitsuwa. It's like a Japanese supermarket, but they have a big food court, and they have a bunch of different restaurants in that food court. It's all Japanese food, and they have anything from appetizers to full meals, dessert. You can get like a custom cake. You can get drinks and teas and all different kinds of stuff there. So if you're looking for something different but still in the Asian market, Japanese food place is called Mitsuwa.
Mitsuwa. All right, cool, man. I have to keep that in mind. Like I mentioned, I had a good time. I'm not knocking Benihana's, but it's a little above what I pay, Like there's Gibson's. They have really awesome steaks, but it's not the kind of place that I go frequent often. But on a special occasion, it's good food. It's worth the price for maybe a one-time kind of thing to go every once in a great while.
What about, real quick then, you and Alana went, I don't know, did you like the atmosphere? Did you feel it was romantic enough for this anniversary date? Did Alana dig it? She's like, did you ever feel like, yeah, this is romantic enough for what you're trying to do for that day?
Yeah, I mean, we weren't going for like a super romantic night, but it does have that kind of feel. The lights are dimmish. The only thing that doesn't, there's a bunch of other groups there, so each table has like 8 deep, and then there's a table every couple feet, so it doesn't give you like that personal one-on-one romantic vibe, but it was definitely nice. It seemed upscale, so it wasn't kind of like a hole in the wall place. So it was definitely something nice to go for a nice date on a nice occasion kind of thing. But yeah, I mentioned before Benihana's, I kind of skipped it or skimmed over it, but we went to go see the movie Halloween. Our anniversary is around Halloween, so we went to go check out the new movie that got released, or the reboot after, like the sequel after part 1 of the original. And, it was a good movie. It wasn't a great movie. It was good. And but it had more of like a funnier vibe, to be honest.
You broke up there, Dan, so if we could go back a little bit. We just heard Halloween, then we heard funny vibe.
Oh, all right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
But yeah, we were watching, we went to go see Halloween, and we were expecting something a little scarier. But to be honest, it had more of like a joke, light feel to it. There was some like really comedic characters in the movie that kind of like lightened the atmosphere, which I dug. I dug it. I thought it was pretty funny, and it had good spots. It wasn't like throughout the entire movie, but there was like these spots where there was some funny stuff going on. And then it was the usual Michael Myers. You kind of saw him over his back, his shoulder kind of shots. The same kind of Carpenter or style where it's like one continuous motion shots were peppered in there in the movie. So I really dug it. It had not really dug it, but it was a good movie. And it had like a more modern feel. You saw the lighting, the production value was a lot bigger than the first original and even the second one. So it had like a big budget feel to it with Michael Myers. So it was a good movie. I recommend it, but if you're expecting something like the original, you might be a little bit disappointed.
Man, go ahead, Noel.
What's your favorite slasher series?
To me, my favorite is the Friday the 13th, but second to that is Halloween. And actually, before watching this re-release, we watched like all 7 of the Halloween movies before that, so we could kind of get a feel as to the timeline and what they were going to be cutting out. And it's definitely up there with it. It's totally different from the Rob Zombie remakes. So if you're expecting the Rob Zombie ones, this is totally different from that. It's not super gory and kind of like over the top the way those were. This is kind of more of an homage to the first or second one.
Would you say it's more light, kind of like Freddy vs. Jason was? It's still kind of horror, but it's more on
yeah. I could see that. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of got that vibe where it's kind of like there's jokes peppered in there, where they're fighting each other, like that kind of vibe. Okay. But it's kind of in tune to what you've been doing, Noel, watching The Haunting at Hill House. How's that going? I've been hearing some really good stuff about it.
Oh, it's great, man. 10 episodes, an hour each. Netflix released this horror series that, to me, it's like the Game of Thrones of horror. It's like it's that good. It's original. It's entertaining. It has drama. It has some comedic moments, but it's definitely creepy. It's not a jump scare kind of thing, although it does have a couple, but it builds on its characters, it builds on its story, and it tells it in a unique way where you get the modern day, what's happening now, and you also get how did we get up to this point. And every episode is a little bit of both. It's like, how did we get to this point where the family is the way it is? And then it shows you what the family's doing now because of what they had to go through in this haunted house. And just a quick, recap of the story. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but this family, it moves into this house in 92, and this house is like a mansion, dude. It's like a manor, like a Bruce Wayne's manor kind of thing, like super rich. And it's known to be haunted, and so nobody else near town lives nearby. Like, it's very secluded. You're covered by a forest. And the family that moves in, it's a wife and husband who have 5 kids. And the wife and husband work together to rebuild houses, like kind of restore them, maybe add some stuff, and they'll flip it. So they buy houses and flip them. This was one of those couple month projects that they had lined up, and they were thinking that once they sell this house, they're going to be millionaires, right? But unfortunately, this house is what ruined their family, ruined their business, ruined their lives. And the house itself seems to have a life of its own and an energy of its own. It looks good, like in terms of like the upkeep. It is kind of dirty, it is kind of messed up, but it's creepy in the way that it brings you into it. Kind of like how Freddy Krueger's house was. It's like iconic, like you recognize it, it's nothing good's gonna happen there. That's kind of how this house is. It doesn't have that like warm feeling to it. And anyway, throughout the show, it shows you what happened to the kids, how each one had their own experience with the house, and how it affected their lives going forward and their interpersonal relationships. And people die. Yeah, people die because of this house. So I'm not going to give a spoiler as to who and what and all the details like that, but just know that the show was done very well. Cinematography's on point. The acting, even from the kids, is actually great. I'm surprised how many good like kid actors are around now. It used to be just a select few, like Macaulay Culkin, stuff like that. But there's a lot of good like child actors that it complemented the adult version of it too, because it's kind of like It, where it shows the kids version and then the adult version, and it all just kind of meshed together. It was interesting. I finished it in 2 days, bro. That's how much I wanted to binge this and finish it.
So I'm sorry. Real quick, are each episodes like self-contained, or is it one long story arc?
So it's one long story that shows you in like portions. Like in 10 episodes, it covers one big story for this family.
So is you said it affects the whole family? Is it like a generational thing, or are they just concentrated on that year that they bought the house, like in 1992? You said.
Yeah. So in 92, they bought the house. They stayed there for a few months, and things happened that forced the family to leave. And not all of them, unfortunately, were able to leave.
Oh, okay.
Wow. So what's the setting? What's the time year? Is it like modern times?
Well, it's 1992 for the kids version. So every time it goes back to the kids and the few months that they were there and their experiences, it's 1992. So the technology and everything that was then. But then it goes to present day, which would be, I guess, 2018.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I've heard a lot of good stuff about it. To me, I'm a horror connoisseur. I like that kind of stuff. So I think it's probably the next show that we're gonna watch. Right now we're watching the I forget the name of it, the Mayans, the Sons of Anarchy spinoff. So I think after we're finished with that, this is the next show that I'm gonna watch, because I've been hearing some good stuff about it.
I definitely recommend it. It's got a 9 out of 10 on IMDb, which is ridiculous for a horror show. To me, it completely destroys any other horror show that I've ever seen, including American Horror Story, which I actually liked a couple of seasons of that. I don't know if there's going to be a season 2, so just keep that in mind when you're watching this. Enjoy it. Don't rush through it, because like as soon as I finished it, I was like, man, I want more. I want to see more of this.
Damn.
it's
So
like,
the Rick Grimes of this show actually dies, not like The Walking Dead.
uh, I don't want to give away any spoilers, man. Some people do die. I don't want to give any indication as to who.
Good, good. I don't want to hear any spoilers, but I just thought that was funny how The Walking Dead finally got rid of Rick Grimes, but they didn't actually kill him off for all you people that didn't see it yet.
Oh, I have not seen it,
I
but
have
no,
not seen
that's
it.
fine. That's
Thanks,
fine. I
Dan.
knew he was gonna leave. Like he was tired of playing the character. He wanted to do something else, so he's like, I'm gonna peace out. So I guess they don't kill him then, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go too much spoilers. I haven't really caught up or kept up with the show, but from the little bit that I read and understood, they kind of give him one of those like fake endings where you don't really know what happened. So he might still be alive. He might be dead, but most likely he's alive.
He's not under the garbage can or something.
Yeah, that's what they were making fun. He's like, is he under there with what was the other character's
Glenn?
name?
Glenn.
Glenn, yeah.
Yeah, man. I have to watch it. I have to catch up on that. Yeah, to me, this show destroys Walking Dead as well. It destroys.
Yeah, I
all other
know the show the Netflix show. I know it is trending. I know a lot of people were talking about it because it's been out since like October, right? Like early
Yeah.
October, and people were talking about it, and I'm like, I'm not really that much into horror, but I know people were talking about it, and I don't know. I don't know if I'll check it out.
It's more than just horror, and it's not really like very heavy on the jump scares. It's more on like the creepy factor, the build up. It's hard to explain because if it affects them personally too. Like it's not just ghosts and stuff like that. It's more than that. It like stains your soul. It stains your life. It's hard to explain. You have to watch it, but it's a good show. I think even people who aren't horror fans, they're gonna like it just for the quality of writing and the characters and the overall interactions. But anyway, yeah, that's one show I watched over the weekend. I was trying to fill up some space in between the lead up to UFC, which I saw. I'll give you a little quick recap of that. So going from the main event down, the main event was the championship fight with Daniel Cormier versus Derek Lewis, two heavyweights. Derek Lewis recently he beat and knocked out this Russian fighter, Alexander Volkov. And so because he knocked him out, it was a month ago actually, he knocked him out. He got this title shot a month later. So
And I'm sorry, Noel, this is a pay-per-view or was this like one of those Saturday night fights?
No, this is UFC 230. It was a pay-per-view.
All right, okay. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No problem. So yeah, real quick, he got submitted. He lost to Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier is an Olympic wrestler. He's a champion, dual champion, light heavyweight and heavyweight. He's one of the greatest of all time. So he submitted him in the second round. Derek Lewis had nothing to offer against this amazing wrestler, amazing fighter. Derek Lewis is a good fighter in his own right, but he has no wrestling capabilities, and so he got submitted pretty quickly. Next fight, Weidman versus Souza, Jacare. Jacare is a Brazilian fighter who's actually coming off of a pretty decent last 5 fights. He's lost his last fight, but overall his 5 fights, this is his 3rd win. He beat Chris Weidman in the 3rd round by knockout, and Chris Weidman has lost 4 of his last 5 fights, all by knockout. So unfortunate for Chris Weidman, it does not look good. He might not be getting that title shot anytime soon. David Branch fought Jared Cannonier, who they are both strikers, so obviously it's going to end pretty much one way. And in the 2nd round, Jared Cannonier got a knockout. So for this main card so far, a lot of knockouts and submissions. And the last fight I'm going to cover that meant something to me, maybe even our viewers, Derek Brunson versus Israel Adesanya. I've been keeping my eye on this guy, Israel Adesanya. He came up from kickboxing and strictly kickboxing. He came into the UFC with the mentality of staying that kickboxing mentality. So he's not really much to wrestle or do jiu-jitsu, but he's so well versatile in striking that he got the knockout in the 1st round. and it was a big upset for Brunson. People thought it was going to be a better matchup. But yeah, Brunson is a warrior. He stood up as long as he could, but eventually the ref stopped it, knowing that Brunson wasn't going to be able to stop what Israel was bringing. And so yeah, that pretty much wraps up the main card. There were some other good fights as well, but I'm not going to take up too much of you guys' time. I know you guys aren't really that well versed in UFC. Just want to give you a little recap of the main events.
What about real quick? I think Bellator is gonna have Tito and Chuck like 100, right? Did that happen, or is that coming up? Do you know?
So Bellator, I don't really keep up with as much. I do like it though. I know they're gonna do it, but I'm not exactly sure what date they have set. I could always look that up, but it still seems to be in the works.
Yeah, I think it's done because I saw a video. They were doing some press conference, and Tito, he's always been known as like a hard trainer, a hard worker. He's doing like all this intense shit, and then they showed a video of Chuck Liddell training. And like no disrespect to Chuck, man, he's the man, but he was doing like old people like workout, man. It was kind of weird. I don't know if it was for show or not. And Tito started busting his balls like, "Oh, you're doing that, man? Then like I'm gonna destroy you, dude." Like it was like freaking embarrassing. I was even like, dude, why is Chuck doing this? Like, is he broke or something? Because the workout, he was like literally just doing like these really low kicks and like really slow, and he looked like he was in pain. And I was just like, man, I don't know why he's doing this.
Yeah, it could be pride. It could be that fighter mentality where like you feel like you want to prove something, you still got it. You're not past your prime. But I think everybody knows that it's his time came and he took advantage of it. But now his time's passed and he's gotta just sit back and watch these other fighters, the new generation fight, kind of like Hulk Hogan. Like he still came back, but at a certain point, everybody knows, like, man, your time is done. Ric Flair, your time is done. All these guys that were great in their prime, you can't just keep doing the same bumps, man. That's gonna break you now.
Man, Hulk's time is forever, man. He come back and take anybody.
I think he still got one more run in him.
Man, he could beat the champ right now if he wants. He could take down Lesnar if he wants to, man.
God dang. Sure, if you're writing the script, yeah, you could do it.
Like, brother, my feet ain't leaving the ground, and leg dropping 1, 2, 3.
But yeah, so that's Liddell. I'm not so sure if he's gonna keep fighting. I have to research on that.
Yeah, just watch that video. It's freaking hilarious, Noel.
Yeah, I have to check that out. Yeah, another thing I got some info on here is BlizzCon. Blizzard has a convention, and so they had one this year, 2018. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the video game company Blizzard.
Yeah, Warcraft, right? And some other ones.
Warcraft, StarCraft, Diablo.
Yeah.
So Diablo, I don't know if you guys know, that was a game that I played a lot throughout my childhood, from my teenage years to even now. Like every once in a while, I'll get on Diablo 2, and I'll just see what's new, see if the community's still around. And surprisingly, a decade later, the community is still strong. It's even doing better than Diablo 3, which is a shocker, Diablo 3 is, I don't know if you guys know, it's a game that's still currently out. They've released an expansion for it. It's on PC. It's on console. I had it for PS4 for a bit, but I sold it. I didn't like it, man. They really changed it up. Anyway, that's just a little background as to what happened with Diablo. And everybody was expecting going into BlizzCon that the new Diablo was going to get announced, or at least some positive information about Diablo was going to get announced.
A trailer or something, right?
Something. Anything would make these guys happy, because a lot of people paid money to go fly across the country to go to BlizzCon to buy a ticket to sit down, or if some of them couldn't fly, they got the virtual ticket, which allowed them to see what was happening without having to be there physically. And everybody was under the impression that they were going to get something related to Diablo. Unfortunately, what they got was an announcement for a Diablo mobile game, which is strictly going to be on cell phones, iOS and Android. Man, I have never seen so many people get booed on like on the stage. It was ridiculous, man. Oh my God. So everybody hated this announcement. They released a trailer for this Diablo mobile game. It got like 300,000 dislikes within like a couple hours. Like Diablo has a massive fan base, and they were completely let down by Blizzard this time around.
Yeah, I know you were a super huge Diablo 3 fan. I used to see you playing it all the time, and I was curious to jump in on my PlayStation 4, but it looks too involved. Like, man, you got to really dedicate hours of your life to really get anywhere on the game, so I decided not to jump in. But, yeah, I did hear about it, that people were super pissed off that, it was a mobile game and not a full-fledged PC game. So, yeah. It's too bad for them, because maybe they're trying to just try something out in the mobile space, but it doesn't look like the fans are really receiving it very well.
Well, it's a slap in the face pretty much to anybody that really loves Diablo, because it's fine that they're making a mobile game. A lot of people have agreed that, hey, this will probably bring a lot of like new generational people to come to this game. Like Junior, for example, he's a lot into the mobile scene. He has like games for his his iPhone. So maybe it'll bring that audience, like the newer generation. But what about the loyal generation, the people that were there from the beginning in the 90s, that they bought Diablo 1, they bought Diablo 2, that they even went out to buy Diablo 3, which was kind of a sellout. It's like, well, what about them? They're saying they're getting, just slapped in the face with this, because World of Warcraft has gotten updates, has gotten expansions. It's continuously growing. It's been growing. It hasn't stopped growing since it came out in the 2000s. And so Diablo, having such a loyal fan base, has been waiting for something monumental, Diablo 4 or Diablo 2 remastered, or any kind of positive information that'll give people hopes that that's on the way. Unfortunately, none of that came. So it makes sense why a lot of people were so outraged. But we'll see what happens with this mobile game. I'm not wishing anything bad upon it. I hope people like it. I'm not going to buy it. I don't give a shit about mobile games.
Hey, you're not even going to try it?
No, not even going to look at it. Not even going to watch any videos or anything. I'm not a mobile gamer. And a lot of people are there like, all right, when they announced it, the guys that were announcing on stage, they were all surprised at all the boos. They're like, do you guys not have cell phones? And everyone's like, yeah, we have a cell phone. Doesn't mean we want to play a freaking game on there. Do you want to sit in front of your cell phone for 5 hours in a day, or however many hours, a couple hours, and play this game? It's like, nah. When you play a cell phone game, it's more like, oh, I'm dropping a deuce, or I'm waiting in line or something, or I'm watching some commercial in between my show, or just some random shit, right? It's not, I'm going to sit down and really get into this mobile game for like 3 hours and like level up and all that. It's like no one, not that I know of, likes that kind of stuff. If you're a PC gamer, you do PC gaming. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I hear you.
But yeah, so that that's what's going on there. But going over to you, Andy, how was your weekend like?
It was all good, man. I was at that BlizzCon. I was the guy that said, eat a dick. And all you Diablo 2 people, suck a dick.
You don't like Diablo, man?
Diablo 2, you said if you bought that, you a sellout? I was very shocked when I heard that. I almost dropped the mic over here.
No, Diablo 3.
Diablo 3. Great. All right, yeah. Diablo 3, 2. Eat a dick too, man.
Jesus.
Nah, man. But, man, that was intense, man, for a cell phone game. Jesus. I haven't heard that much anger since, like, the Mario game that came out for the Apple, or for the iPhone.
I'd never really gotten into that many games, dude. I'm not the biggest gamer. I just have experience because all my brothers, they all had games growing up, and so I played them too, That's really my experience with it. But Diablo was probably one of the few games that I dedicated years of my life to. So it's like I have a little bit of emotional investment into it, and to just see them throw it away like that, like We'll see what happens. Maybe Diablo 4 will still come out, but it's nothing that I can hope for at the moment.
Yeah, I'm shocked for what you were saying there. No, so yeah, definitely keep me updated. Keep the people updated about that. Because I'm shocked to hear so much passion about a fucking mobile game. So, but my weekend as usual, you know me. I like to. I'm in the same vein as you Noel and Danny. I binge watch shows, but one of my biggest struggles is me being married. I always have to, find the show that the wife would kind of like. Usually I make she leaves me to make the selection, and sometimes I like to push the boundaries, expanding her mind, not just watching her British. She has an affinity for British shows.
Like Channel 11.
Like, yeah, dude, I'm seriously, Dan. I've never watched so many British shows in the old school days. She likes this Poldark. It's apparently a book series written a long time ago about British fucking and trying to screw each other over. And then she's watching some other one called Rain. I watched some episodes like I can't watch this, baby, and I just get away. But one of the shows we did get into was I knew of it because your boy Jack Bauer's in it. Then he plays the president. It's called Designated Survivor, which aired on ABC for a couple years. I don't know if you guys heard about it.
I did hear a little bit about it, and it looked like a pretty cool premise. But real quick, before we get off of the British shows, is your wife into Benny Hill, man? That's a really
no.
famous...
She never heard of Benny Hill. Apparently, I'm like, this is the British I know.
Yeah,
and I play the theme song. She's like, what is this? I'm like, man, you don't know about real British arts and theater.
Yeah, for real, man. That's the British shows that I know. But yeah, this Designated Survivor, I did see like a trailer for it before it came out, and it looked interesting, man. The premise being something like he's the lone survivor of like the upper echelon of cabinet members or something. Like there's some kind of disaster, right?
So yeah, like we all know that when they have the State of the Union addresses and so forth, or they have meetings in Congress, there's usually somebody put away at like a bunker in case somebody does fucking nuke us or something like that, to show a representative of the government. So in this case is Jack Bauer, or I don't remember his damn name in the show, but let's just call him Jack Bauer, or Kiefer Sutherland, vampire from the Lost Boys. Yeah. So he's there, and they blow the shit up out of the Capitol Hill, and then over, the first like 6 episodes, it's great because this shit happened. He runs into issues, and in the meantime, there's like a couple turns. The Republicans put somebody away too in case some shit like this happens. So there's like one Congress member. But eventually it goes, I want to say off the rails, but it starts turning into like a show that is predictable, and like it was like, oh yeah, this is shit. It's consistent. This is like believable. And then it just went off the rails with conspiracies and like shootouts and like the president is like waving his dick. People are like, you're not the real president. I didn't vote for you. And states trying to like split off and like I'm like, why is this show on Netflix all of a sudden? Apparently ABC canceled it after 2 seasons and Netflix picked it up. And they just the first season he resolves this conspiracy somewhat, and then the second season it just goes, we're like halfway through the second season, and it's just like fucking daily boring issues, like, oh, I'm the president and I got to solve this economic crisis. Oh, I'm the president and I gotta go talk to NATO, and it got like really fucking repetitive, and I'm like, this shit's predictable, man. And now I'm like, I feel like you ever felt like you're so committed to a show, like it's getting brutal, like I gotta watch this just to see how the fuck
like
it ends.
All in, Andy. You're all in. You gotta watch it now.
You're pot committed and you're all in. And my wife likes it, Like, let's watch another one. I'm like, I don't want to watch this.
So like in 24, he was like a badass. He would take on the whole army by himself. Does he play that like same character in this TV show?
No, in the first season of he's the president, and he's just like, oh man, we gotta talk, bring all these people together, and then slowly he's turning into, like, I want to say presidential, like waving his dick around and assassinating people. Like, he went to like, oh yeah, I'm the president, like, oh, I'm scared, to like, yeah, we gotta bomb this terrorist. And he's like bombing people and shit, fucking shooting them down. And it's just like, what the hell happened, man? This happened rather quickly in going to the episode. He's like transitioned to like, oh, I'm scared, to I'm a fucking badass now, almost,
Yeah, that's the way I know him, man. Kicking people in the nuts, trying to get the government secrets out of them.
Yeah.
I don't know about this political guy that just wants to talk.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it got really predictable, man. I don't know how else to word it. Like, I watched enough TV in my lifetime to know, like, yeah, this is the bad guy. Well, how do you know that? Like, it's look at him, man. It's like, look at this person. Like, look at this woman. And then there's a couple subplots. Like, there's like people dealing with like racism and stuff, and I'm just like, all that stuff like bores me, man. It's just like, oh yeah, he's gonna solve racism in 10 minutes here. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, did you know that, Noel, that in movies sometimes there's like these telltale things, like when it rains, it means that there's a big change coming in the show or in the movie?
Yeah, like there's symbolic things that'll happen that'll signal like a foreshadowing of something to come.
Right. Is that what you're talking about, Andy? You see like all these things coming a mile away?
Yeah, it's just like, oh, out of the blue, like his mother-in-law starts living with them. And oh, what a coincidence, she used to work, she was a secretary for some government contractor, and I was telling him, watch, this bitch is corrupt. She sucked dick or something for a favor, and it's gonna come out. Sure enough, her husband was sick, and she gave information to some contractor to get bids to her husband could get a heart. Like, there you go, man. Like, now they're like, oh, we can't let the people know, like, this is a scandal and all this shit. Like, come on, man, this shit's so predictable.
Did she get down like Alceveda, man, in The Shield?
Nah, man, Aceveda, they should have just shot that fucking guy. But she like gave secrets out so her husband could get moved up on some transparent list. It was just like who wrote this shit, man? Like, it started off with such a good premise, and then it's just like, man, what, Jack Bauer, what the hell happened? I don't know. But would I recommend it? Give it a shot, man. I think this is something for the ladies to like,
All right, cool, man. Yeah, I was kind of interested in it myself because I really dug 24. I saw the 20 seasons that they had, or however many it was. And even though it was like repetitive, there was something about that character that I really dug. So I really liked 24. And I was interested in this show, but like you said, it must have done terrible because it just disappeared, and I totally forgot about it until you brought it up.
Yeah, it's Netflix picked up the third season, and it's just like, I thought it was gonna be something similar. Like, I don't know if you saw House of Cards, and I thought it was something to be more in that vein, and it wasn't. It was just like what I call typical like network show. Like, it's not. It's just. It's like a network show, man. It's not intense. It's just like, it's kind of predictable. And they start off great, and then they just get into the event of the week. We got to solve this problem, And it's just like, this week, oh, we got to solve this problem because, the Russians are mad at us. It's just like, are you fucking kidding me, man? Like, this shit is not even interesting.
So the House of Cards, is it pre-Kevin Spacey or after, man?
Well, Kevin Spacey, now that's a bad motherfucker in the House of Cards. He was the president of the United States, and he's fucking murdering people with his bare hands. Like that. Spoiler alert. And he was fucking women and guys. How about that, man?
Jesus, man.
You thought Trump was fucking women. This guy fucked anything that moved.
He'd grab him in the pussy, man?
He did that and some, man.
Jesus, man.
And then he let his wife fuck other guys, and that show was intense, man. His press secretary was banging chicks on the podium of where they have the press conferences.
Was there a press conference going on?
Nah, dude, that would have been the shit. But like, they give Spacey like look at your press secretary here, man. He's just like, hey, motherfucker, don't be doing that unless like I'm first, okay? He's like, and by the way, I know you're fucking my wife, so don't be fucking other bitches while you're fucking my wife. Like, holy shit, like what kind of man would like it gets you to think like, yes, like his marriage is not arranged, but they have an agreement. Like, we want to get power, and she allows him to do what he got to do, and he lets her do her thing. But every night they come home, and they come to each other. They're like, I'm imagining like it's very complex, and you start to think like man, like, can there be people of power? Like, it's just something for somewhat for show, but like, do they care about each other? Absolutely, but to a point where they let other people go fuck, to have relations with other people.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like a lot of people theorize the Clintons, where they're still married, but they've had infidelities with each other. But they still stay together to be that powerhouse couple.
Yeah,
but I've never seen the House of Cards.
Yeah, see it.
It sounds interesting.
It is just on that dynamic and like everything with the working of governments, and how he transitions. Like, I heard somebody say, the way to be successful, like lately in these times, is to be aggressive. When the rest of the world are just like, I don't want to say pussies, but people are so scared to piss off other people. And for you to be successful in today's world is you got to be aggressive, and you got to make calculated risk, and you have to gamble. And like in the House of Cards, that character is, and in Designated Survivor, that president is just like, oh, we gotta have a discussion. It's like all this group shit, and I'm just like, come on, man. Like, is that the president that we gotta go to? Like, I want somebody to be, decisive, and that president Designated Survivor is not it, And
you want like a Tony Soprano motherfucker, right?
Not a Tony Soprano, but you want people to make decisions, and they're sticking to their decisions, right or wrong, right? And a Designated Survivor is not that. That president is it's just, he's plain, and he's not aggressive, and he second thinks himself a lot,
Right.
And in the House of Cards, that president, he's willing to cut people. He's willing, like, I don't need you no more. He's willing to fuck over people to get his agenda and what he wants for him and his wife and whatever he is planning to do within the government. And he's ruthless, and he's cutthroat, and he's sticking to his plan. And like, you could admire somebody like that, right or wrong. He knows what he's want, and he's gonna go for it,
No, yeah, I've heard a lot of good stuff about it, as far as the House of Cards go. But ever since the scandal, I didn't watch it before then, but especially now after the scandal, it kind of turned me off to even watch it. But it sounds very interesting and very, that political drama, which is very intriguing to me.
So again, like you said, the scandal that House of Cards went into, it had a spectacular. He had a spectacular rise, and then the fall that happened to Spacey, and And for this week's article, we talk about the spectacular rise and fall of MoviePass. Now, at one time in my life, I used to go to the movies like every weekend, and I still do for like big blockbusters. In MoviePass, when it first came out, it was really intriguing to me because it's like I looked at it as the Netflix of fucking movies, and a lot of movie theaters signed up to this. And I don't know if you ever heard of it, Noel or Danny.
I heard of it from other people, but I never looked into it until this article came up, and I was pretty surprised by its existence in general.
Yeah, the Movie Pass, I had heard about it, and I was actually like super curious to actually sign up as well when it first came out, and especially after they dropped their price to $10 a month. I was super interested. I just didn't know what their limitation was, and there wasn't too much information about that. I was trying to find out like what movie theaters were participating in the Movie Pass project or whatever they wanted to call it, the company, because not all theaters were contributing or allowing you to use Movie Pass. So since I couldn't find too much information, it kind of discouraged me from signing up, but I was definitely interested at when they first came out.
So, yeah, like, I heard about it. So the basic premise when it started was under the Movie Pass model, members pay $9.95 a month to enjoy up to one movie a day. And we're in the Midwest, we're in Chicago, and we know how much movies cost now. You could pay, like to $12 to $15 if you take a family. So for $10, you could literally go to a movie a day. And the company
now that $10 is their relaunching, right? Because they started off, it was more closer to like $50 a month.
Well, the current model is, when this article was written, it was $10. So
right. I was just saying that before this article, Movie Pass existed. But it was like $50 a month, and this is when they dropped to $10. That's when it really got the shit rolling.
Right, because they got acquired by this like capital company, and at the time it had 20,000 subscribers, and then it went from it says after slashing the Movie Pass monthly fee to $9.95 from up to $50 a month, the subscriber base ballooned to 3 million in June. So like that, like people were paying $10 a month for 3 million subscribers. And I heard about it, and I know a lot of some other things and groups podcasts that I listened to, people were like talking about it, because amazing, like and it was like unlimited, like you could go once a day and check out the movie that you wanted to see. People were like, I'm going every weekend to get my money's worth, and blah, blah, blah. And I think the big headache they ran into, it was going great when the movie, the Mission Impossible movie came out. Was it Rogue Nation? Was that the one with Superman in it, which we kind of reviewed a couple of weeks ago or a month ago?
Yeah, the most recent one.
Yes. People were trying to use their Movie Pass, and people were like, nah, we're not taking it for that movie.
Yeah, they started having like blackout movies where there was movies that you couldn't use it for.
It's called Fallout. Mission Impossible.
Yes. Fallout, that one with Superman and his mustache that fucked up Justice League. But
is that why it fucked it up for this movie?
So they had to do reshoots. Like, he did Justice League, and then they're like, oh, we want you to play Tom Cruise but grow a mustache. Okay. And then they're like, yo, Superman, we fucked up in some of the shooting. Can you do reshoots? They're like, yeah, but I got a mustache. Don't worry, man. We'll fucking digitally erase it. And it just looked fucking horrible. You should see some of the screenshots. I don't know if you've seen Justice League.
Yeah, I've seen the memes that they have with his mustache, yeah.
But, going back to Movie Pass, that was the first movie where, like, yeah, we're not taking it. And it turned into like a freaking fiasco, and they're like, we don't understand why they're not taking it. And the downfall started from there, and then AMC started their rival that Stubbs thing where they put their little subscription service, but it was priced I think at $15, and they only let you see like I think 2 or 3 movies a month. And
right, yeah, it's 3 movies in a month, and it was $20. It's called AMC Stub A-List, and that's another good one, but it's only good at AMC's, where MoviePass has other movie retail companies that you can go check out.
So yeah, I think when MoviePass initially, AMC didn't take it, but the other chains were. I don't recall. I know it was accepted at a lot of places, but it just had a bad business model. Knowing how society is now, to me, I always liked the business side of movies. It always intrigued me, and you always start to think like, how the fuck is this gonna survive? This just didn't make sense. And you would figure for $10 a month, like that is so cheap, and you get to go to one movie a day. Like that just did. I don't know if they were hoping people would not go to the movies and just pay the $10. And then at the back end they had to shell out to some of the companies and the movie companies and so forth. I just didn't understand their business model. Even at the end of this article, they talk about how they were going into the movie business. They were buying movies. One of the movies they bought was Gotti, and that movie just like sucked, and like it didn't do like any money. It was just horrible.
Well, I thought it was half decent.
You fucking saw it now?
Yeah, that John Travolta one.
I find it amazing. Everybody shits on it, man, and I have no urge to see it.
It's not a great movie, but I really like the character Gotti, and I saw that HBO one that came out. That one was really good. But this one that was released by this company, which MoviePass had a deal with, it was okay. It wasn't a great movie, but it was okay. It definitely showed more of like the private side of Gotti, the family side, versus let's just show all this mob stuff, So it was good in that aspect.
I just remember in the trailer, Travolta's like this fucking city man, like. It was just like so fake, like Italian thing. I don't know, man. I'm not Italian, but to me, it's just like he was really trying hard to be like, I'm from the streets and shit,
Right.
Trying hard to be mafioso.
Yeah, that's what I remember from the trailers. But they actually acquired the movie for, I guess, some type of distribution deal, and it did horrible, and they lost a shitload of money on that end. So. But it's the article is interesting to me on the business side. If you like economics on movies and these subscription-based models for a while, I feel like the internet, everything was subscription-based. It just, to me, it didn't make sense till you get to pay $10 and you go to see a movie every fucking day,
But the CEO of the company is still really optimistic that the company is going to last and it's going to start becoming profitable. And he was projecting that if they can make it until the end of 2018, that'll hit their break-even point, where they're projecting to have up to 5 million subscribers, and then at that point they'll start making money after that. And it's kind of risky, man. It's kind of like one of those things where you get a gym membership and you pay that monthly fee, and then you stop going, but you keep paying that monthly fee for like another year, and then finally you go and you cancel because you're like, man, I haven't gone to the gym in a year. But that whole time you're paying $10 a month, $10 a month, $10 a month. So it's just free money to these companies because you're not even using the services. And I think they were expecting people like that would be too damn lazy to go cancel it and just leave it in the background, getting taken out of their bank direct deposit, kind of thing.
Yeah, me and Noel were kind of talking about it early on, like the way we have these big TVs and these home theater setups. People are so just accustomed to watching movies at home now, and the movie going experience, like how we kind of grew up. Oh man, they got a new movie, let's go fucking see. But now it's so easy to watch any movie in any device on your TV, laptop, tablet. It makes it so difficult to drive somewhere, pay to get in, buy fucking food. You can't pause it. Oh shit, I gotta take a piss. Like, oh man, there's a kid crying. Like, people don't want to deal with that no more, I feel.
Well, I heard also they want to sell the data that they get from these users. So they even says in this article that the data they're going to sell is pretty specific. They can find out what time people go to the movies, what genres they like, if they go to AMC or Regal or other companies, and they know like their viewing habits over all the different channels and all the different aspects. So maybe that's where they're going to make their money too.
I feel like they don't know their base, and the base, the hardcore people are the ones who signed up, because I feel like moviegoers who do go to the movies, they needed to do a little bit more research, because people who go to the movies is on a regular basis, I feel, is a very niche group now, and going, with the family, or if you ain't going on a date, it's either single guys, it's people who go to movies, or people are going on dates, or it's a bunch of fucking single guys who are like movie buffs, and they go to because they want to see. They're just movie buffs. They want to see everything that comes out. I mean, a family going on the movie, if they're gonna go in the morning, and they're going to the matinees, or they're going to the cheapies, which I don't think Movie Pass. That's not their market,
Well, with Movie Pass, is it just to watch it physically at the theater, or can you watch it at home?
Right now, at the plan sets, it's at the theater only.
Oh.
But they are working on distribution, and from the little bit research that I did, other than this article, that they are kind of contemplating maybe going into some kind of movie direct on demand service, but it's going to be hard. There's so many out there that you're going to really need to get some exclusive movies to kind of attract people to go to your service versus others.
Yeah, no, I get where you're coming from on that, but yeah, I think if they do market it to the people that want to watch it at home as well, that's going to be a lot more information they get, because like you said, Andy, yeah, there's probably more people that want to watch things at home. They want to do the Netflix type of deal. So maybe if they make it so that it's an in-between thing where maybe you get a movie that came out in theaters, but you get it sooner than it would be on Blu-ray, which is like usually months down the line. Maybe if they get something like that, they can start getting more subscribers, get to that 5 million mark, and then start seeing that profit come in.
Yeah, it's an aggressive move that they made. Like I was talking about earlier, people who are aggressive, successful people are aggressive. I just feel like, reading the business, the price point is too low. They have the subscribers are there. It's just the price point is too low, and I think on the back end paying I don't know what their cut is with the theaters and the studios, but I bet you they were just eating up, paying these people off, and there was no money left over. That's why I think in the article they talk about how they had a cash flow problems because all their money was tied up, or they were handing all their money out. It was all tied up. They didn't have enough coming in to cover everything.
Yeah, it's difficult. Any new business, it's always in a struggle the first year or the first few years. So we'll see how it goes from here. They're getting a lot of feedback, so that's going to definitely help them into making future decisions. But, well, that's all we have for today. I want to thank all our listeners for listening today. And you can follow us on Freeform Network at Facebook and Twitter, Freeform Network. And you can also send your questions, any kind of suggestions, anything you think we could do better, anything that you think we could add to the show, send that to ffnquestions@gmail.com. We also have a webpage up at freeformnetwork.podbean.com. You're going to get our links for Stitcher, iTunes, all that good stuff. Please subscribe. Hit that like button if you like us. And even if you don't, we like to see that like button anyway. Just do it. It's all good. And for Freeform Radio, this is Noel. I have my other host here, Daniel.
Yes, sir. Signing off. Thank you for listening.
And, of course, Andy.
Remember to be aggressive in life, people, because a lot of successful people in life are aggressive. Don't let all that millennial bullshit hold you down, man.
Something like that. Well, thank y'all, people, for listening. We'll see you next week.
That was cool, Dad.